So question to you, have you ever heard of high performance mode? Now it's not the exact same thing as flow state, but it's very similar. High performance mode is when you just sit down to work, no brain fog, everything just clicks. You know where you're going, you know what you're doing, the tasks ahead of you feel so clear, and the work just feels so natural. It feels so easy to focus. And in 3 hours, 4 hours of deep work, you do so much work. You get so much work done. And I know for a fact that you've experienced this, it just doesn't happen every time. Now I've spent the last 6 months figuring out why this happens and also how to recreate it on command, so that every single time you sit down to work, you can tap into this high performance mode. Now I have my notebook on hand, cold brew, and let's get right into the video. I've broken this video down into 3 parts, which all build on top of each other. So you can't just skip through parts because you're gonna miss key components that you're gonna need for the other parts. Now we have a private community, Discipline OS, in the link below. I'm gonna tell you more about that later. For now, take out your notebook and take some notes. Let's go. Part number 1, priming the mind. You see, high performance mode starts before you work. People think that the work starts when you sit down and you open your computer and you start working. But let me tell you something. This isn't a magic video, a shortcut, a magic trick that is going to unlock deep work instantly. This is something that is built through identity. You see, identity unlocks the person that you are. So let's start off with a classic over here, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It is all about self-image, all about identity. You need to start seeing yourself as a high performer, as a person who sets themselves goals and achieves them, as a person who does not pick up their phone and procrastinate. You need to identify that successful version of yourself, the version of yourself you've always wanted to be, that identity of the person that you've always aspired to become. Identify that, capture that image, and ask yourself, from today, from right now, how can I think, feel, and act like that version of myself? That is how you identity shift. You continually provide yourself with evidence that you are already that person. Not that you're going to become that person, or maybe one day you're going to transform and make that switch, but that from right now, from today, you feel like that person and you are that person. And in the same way, you can use identity and self-image upgrading to really change the way you focus. Right now, you see yourself as a version who sometimes gets deep work done, sometimes procrastinates, sometimes focuses, sometimes gets distracted. Your self-image and identity is correspondent to a person who does not focus 100% of the time. So let's change that. You need to start seeing yourself as that version of yourself, as the person who sits down, no phone, phone is somewhere else, phone is not in sight, no distractions. There's only one tab open, the thing that you have to do. There's nothing around you except for the thing that you have to do. And that version of you sits down to do the work, and within 5 to 10 minutes, they're already in the flow state, in the high performance mode. Now, once you lay this foundation of identity, the next strategies I'm going to show you are going to help even more. Now, the second strategy I want to talk about is the lock-in phase. So this is the transition mode and the switch that happens when you go from doing whatever you were doing to sitting down and entering a calm, focused environment. You have to intentionally switch between 2 different states, when you're not focused and when you're focused. Let's say you're just doing anything in life. You're just running errands, you're doing something, you're on your phone, you're reading, whatever you're doing, normal day-to-day activities, they require a different brain state than the brain state you need to sit down and actually focus. So you need to prime yourself and get really good at switching brain states. And the way you do that is by creating a bridge. This is called the dopamine bridge. Now, your dopamine levels and the baselines as well are going to be at different levels when you're in different states of focus, when you're scrolling, when you're doing deep work, when you're reading. Your dopamine responds in different ways. So you're going to need something, some activity that is going to bridge the gap between these 2 different levels. And this can be any type of mental reset. So staring at a wall for 10 minutes is an amazing way to do this. Or cleaning up your desk, setting up your desk. These are 2 examples of things that act as a dopamine bridge. So that when you're transitioning from the state that you were in previously to this new state of focus, it doesn't seem like a very big jump. Because as soon as it feels like this massive jump, like you're scrolling reels for 3 hours, scrolling TikTok, and then all of a sudden you have to focus, and like the scrolling reels is over here and focus deep work is over here, that massive jump is just going to feel so intimidating that it's going to feel hard to do deep work. And usually, more often than not, that is exactly why you sit down to focus and it just feels so hard. So the third thing I want to talk about is intentional work. This builds upon the previous concept, so that after you implement this in mental reset, this 5 minutes, 10 minutes of staring at a wall to reset your dopamine, to bridge that gap, once you have that in place and you actually sit down to start working, you need clear outcomes. You need clear objectives. You need intentional work right in front of you, because if you don't, I'm going to give you an equation that changed my life. Procrastination is the absence of clarity. When you don't have clarity, when you're not really sure what you have to do, tasks are scattered, you don't even know what your objective is of this deep work session. When that's the case, what happens is you have no clarity, and because there's no clarity, you get confused and you just procrastinate. Instantly, your mind doesn't know what it has to do, so it wants to search for very easy inputs, like your phone, like YouTube, switching tabs, checking something random, because you have no direction. You see, there's this stoic quote that really changed my life from Seneca. No wind is favorable to the man who knows not to which port he sails. If you have no direction, if you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter what circumstances come, nothing is going to help you. No wind is going to be favorable if you don't even know where you're sailing to. So with your work, you need to split up your tasks into the most simple things you can do. Now, here's an example. So this is what I do. I plan tomorrow today. I say this in every video. This is something, if you're not doing this, you are basically limiting yourself to 50% productivity. Now over here, I have Friday. So I put the date Friday, or I write tomorrow as the headline. And I write down a list of 1 to 5 tasks. It's never more than 5 tasks that I have to do to call that day a successful day. And now these are the tasks that I'm going to have open on my desk when I'm sitting down to do deep work, so that I can tick them off and I know exactly what I have to do. Without this, you're just going to be sitting. Maybe you're doing Google Docs, writing a script. Maybe you're checking emails. Maybe you're responding to your community. You really don't know what deep work you're doing. Maybe you're fulfilling for clients, creating SOPs, but like there's no structure, no systems. And now, as you may know, systems create success. Without systems, deep work, habits, just living a good life feels so hard. Now with systems, success, deep work, being consistent, doing the habits, all of these things feel very easy. And now that's a key difference. That's a key switch. Systems create success. This is a simple system for your deep work that is going to change everything. So I'm going to read to you some of the tasks that I have. So one task here is post main video and finish the thumbnail. Another task here is edit 5 reels. I already filmed the reels, so edit 5 reels. And then the third task is make the thumbnail, edit the thumbnail for the second channel for content creators. And now for today, my tasks are film the main video, which I'm doing right now, make the thumbnail for this video, and then another task is edit 2 community reels, and then the last task here is do market research using Claude. Now those are my tasks for today. Simple, effective. I don't have way too many tasks that I get confused. I know exactly what I have to do, what the outcome of today is, and that is the whole goal. That is going to change everything, because as soon as you have this level of clarity, it's going to be hard to procrastinate. How can you procrastinate when you know exactly what you have to do to the smallest micro task, and you know why you're doing it? Like, I'm doing all this stuff to grow my personal brand, to build more freedom in my life, to help more people change their lives and fix their focus, beat procrastination, and become the version of themselves that they've always wanted to be. And I have this purpose. I have this overarching purpose, this port to where I want to sail, this destination, this direction that guides me always. This is like the North Star. So clear goal, clear mind, clear outcome, and clear destination. And the last thing before we go on to part number 2 is going to be eliminating friction. The Atomic Habits classic. If you want to do better deep work more efficiently, you need to reduce friction between you and deep work. And the way you do that is by having systems, by planning tomorrow today, by removing all clutter from your desk, by visualizing doing the work and finishing a deep work session, by having a timer that forces focus, and just find ways to reduce friction between you and the deep work, you and focusing. In Atomic Habits, it's a very classic principle that's going to help you out. Always add friction between you and the bad habits you want to stay away from, and always reduce friction between you and the good habits you want to implement. So the more friction between you and the things you need to get done, the less likely you are to do them. And by the way, if you're watching these videos, if you're a subscriber of this channel, it means you were part of the top 1% of the people who just want to get to the top. They just want to achieve success and remove these things that are holding them back, the procrastination, and they just literally want to become the best. Now, if that sounds like you and you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Part number 2, protecting the state. Okay, now that we've identified how to get into the state, now it's all about protecting it. Because once you tap into the high performance mode just once, one single time, that is enough to change your trajectory. But the problem arises when you leave this state and you distract yourself again and you scroll again and you return to the same things again. So as long as you enter the state just one single time, this is where part number 2 comes in, so you can capture the state and keep it there as long as you want. And this is where your mindset really comes into play. Now, what is mindset? Mindset can be separated into 2 separate words. It is your set of beliefs in your mind. That is what your mindset is. And if you believe that getting into this high performance state is hard, then it's going to be hard. If you believe that it's easy, it's going to be easy. Now, in a way, your beliefs create your reality, and that's exactly what you have to use to your own advantage. You need to believe that the goals that you have set for yourself are not easy, but simple. Simple is the key word here. It isn't easy, but it is simple. So instead of sabotaging yourself by thinking that the state that you want to achieve, the goals that you have, the dream that you want to live and create, instead of thinking that that's really hard, just know that that is achievable. Know that it is simple and you can get there. So this is the mindset switch. Just know and feel and understand that the state you want to get to, the high high performance focused flow state, it is easier than you think. And now number 2, from part number 2, and this is a very simple thing, yet a very effective solution, is don't even check your phone for a second. When your phone is on your desk, right, even if it's face down, it's leaking your focus energy. It is draining your mental energy. Because even if you don't know it's happening, your brain is running a background process that is scanning your phone to see if notifications come, to see if somebody texted you, to see if, maybe there's something that needs to be checked. And your brain is in the background resisting the urge to pick up your phone. And that is draining your mental energy. So always, when you are working and on your desk, keep your phone in another room. Keeping your phone physically far away from you adds friction between you and arguably one of the biggest distractions, which is probably your phone. So any kind of interruption, even be it for 2 seconds or 3 seconds, reduces your likelihood of being able to focus again and your depth of focus. So if you are sitting down to work and for some reason you just within 5 minutes you're on your phone, you don't know why, but you're just scrolling reels or you check something and it turns into 10 minutes of checking something. These micro distractions are holding you back more than you think. So when you're working, you cannot allow yourself to get distracted, not even one single time. Set yourself a 45 to 60 minute timer where you're doing deep work and you're not even allowed to check your phone. Put your phone on airplane mode, put it on do not disturb, and also block some app with a screen zen or some type of screen blocker and put your phone somewhere else, in another room, on another desk. This is so simple and you've probably heard this at least twice or 3 times, but think about this. Out of your last 10 deep work sessions, chances are your phone was on your desk for most of them. Now, I'm not here to judge. This is on you. You know exactly how often your phone is on your desk when you're working. But even though you knew that your phone is not good for your focus and it's distracting you, most of the time it still ends up on your desk. And that's what happened to me. So I had to make the switch and re-engineer my environment so that I could focus easily. So any kind of interruptions to your focus, even if that's like not just your phone, but telling your friends or family that you're in a deep work session and that they shouldn't come and disturb you, whatever that might be, reducing any type of thing that could come and pull you out of focus is necessary. The more successful deep work sessions you have, which is like a 30-minute to a 60-minute time block, maybe even more, where you focus, you don't context switch, you don't pick up your phone or check your phone multiple times, not even once, and you successfully just focus on one thing, get it done. You don't multitask, you don't context switch, and you don't get distracted. Just having one successful deep work session like that reprograms your brain like nothing else. You create one single positive experience. And when you have one positive experience, it creates this feedback loop. Now the deep work feels good. You've felt this success. And because of that, it's going to be easier to do a second deep work session that is successful, and a third and a fourth. And this changes everything. So now 2 things before we head on to part number 3. Number 1 is keep momentum over perfection. You need to understand that consistency beats intensity every single time. I would rather you do 2 hours of deep work every single day for a whole year than do 6 hours or 7 hours of deep work for, 3 times a week. Now, consistency matters more than anything else, whether it be focus or habits. And also, even if your focus is interrupted, you need to be able to bounce back quickly. You need to be able to shrug it off and be like, okay, I got distracted. Now let me get back to work. Because what turns a 5-minute checking your notification or checking a message for 3 minutes into a full scrolling session is the mindset of like, okay, my focus is interrupted, I might as well scroll. Or okay, I checked my phone, I might as well spend an hour. That is the all or nothing mindset that usually tends to sabotage you. So instead, understand that, okay, this happened. A small slip up does not mean a full slip up. Understand that it's okay. I checked my phone. Now I'm going to put my phone back and get back to work. This mindset of bouncing back quickly is going to change everything. So how quickly can you get back into the flow state even after you are distracted? So step number 1 is applying everything you've learned so far, everything you've, I hope, taken a note of. But also step number 2 is even when you do get distracted, I mean, distractions are going to come at some point, but you can limit them as much as possible. But when they do come, how quickly as possible can you get back into the mode of focus? That is the question. And the second thing I want to talk about is stop trying to sprint. You see, the faster your brain is moving, the harder it's going to be. So just relax, take it slowly, and understand that, success is simple. You are just a couple of consistent hours of deep work every single day away from your goal being achieved in 1, maybe 2 years. And I'm talking about every single thing that your heart desires. The financial freedom, the location freedom, the job or the work that fulfills you like nothing else, the vacations, the holiday, the freedom, living in the best place that you want to live in. Every part of the dream life you want to live. It's not rocket science. You just have to do 3 hours of deep work minimum every single day for 1.5 years, for 2 years, and then you will get there. So it's very, very simple. I could literally tell you what steps you have to take to eventually make your dream a reality. But, and this is a very big but, it is not easy. It's not easy. You're gonna have days where you don't feel like showing up, Even though it's simple, you know what you have to do, you just can't do it. So you don't want to think too fast. You don't want to get ahead of yourself and overwhelm yourself. You just want to think in simple terms. So stop trying to sprint. Stop trying to make 5 years of progress in a single single year, start with these small steps. Start with the 1% every single day. Start with the 2 hours of deep work. Read 2 pages, journal for 10-15 minutes, meditate for 5 minutes, and just start to get the ball rolling. It doesn't really matter if these feel like small things. It doesn't matter if 15 minutes of deep work feels insignificant, or if 2 minutes of meditation feels like nothing. You need these stepping stones to get to the next step, and that is going to change everything. So if you're enjoying this video so far and has helped you and you've taken notes, then subscribe to this channel, which is going to help you change your life. Using discipline systems, identity architecture, and principles from some of the best, most influential books out there, I will help you change your life. Why? Because I've done it for myself and hundreds of people as well. And if you're watching videos on this channel, it means I can help you too. Part number 3, closing the loop. So now I want you to review what you accomplished. You need to measure your progress. After every single deep work session, you need to have SOPs, you need to have KPIs, you need to know exactly what it is that you accomplished or achieved. And the way you do that is by having a list of tasks. Every time you finish something, you tick it off. This is so important because most people, they do work, but they never really stop to review what they did. They never introspect on how good quality their work is, on how focused they are, on how many tasks they could finish in a short time. I mean, if you do cold calls and that's how you get clients for your business, for example, I mean, you could easily do 100 phone calls, but like you don't have the quality in check. So the bucket essentially is leaking. So the more phone calls you do, the more no's you get. And you don't actually have a system to convert those calls into sales. Now, if that's the case, you can do 1,000 phone calls. You can do 150, 500 phone calls, but the results are not going to come. So first you need to fix the bucket. Think of your focus and the things that you do as a bucket with holes in it. The more you try to do volume, the more you try to, if you're making bad videos on YouTube, like you could make 1,000 videos, but if nobody wants to watch your videos and they're like low quality, they're not interesting, they're boring videos, then it doesn't really matter how many you make, you're not going to see results. So first you need to fix the bucket, patch the holes, change the bucket, whatever you want to do, so that when the bucket has no holes in it, when it doesn't leak, then you could add as much water as you want. Because with a leaking bucket, the more water you add, the more water is going to come out, the more water is going to leak. But if you have a bucket that has no holes in it, it doesn't leak, then your results, the water you pour in, will lead to filling the bucket. Any amount of work, if you have a good system for cold calling, then even 15 phone calls, 20 phone calls will lead to tangible results. So yes, there's a certain amount of volume you can do with your work that is going to negate luck, that is going to guarantee your success. But this is a big but as well. You literally need to have a system that works. You need volume in the right direction. Because if you just work hard, if you just put a lot of inputs in with no direction, in a way you're wasting your time. So find out what tasks you're doing. What are your big top 10 tasks? The tasks that actually move the needle for your business, for your work, for your career, for your habits as well. And once you've identified those tasks, identify how you are doing them. What is your level of focus? How likely are you to finish what you're doing? Is your work actually high quality? And that's going to change everything. And now the second thing here is decide tomorrow's tasks today. You always want to be prepared in advance. A successful day starts with a successful morning, and a successful morning starts the night before. So as I said previously in this video, just take out a notebook, write out tomorrow's tasks today, the top tasks you need to make a successful day. And now leave your environment exactly as it was before. This is environment engineering. So your environment is going to dictate your success. The same way systems create success, environment is a form of system. So this helps me lock in faster every single time. Just a little bit faster, just 20%, but that makes a difference. So for example, when I'm filming, I had to create a system around where my camera is, where the light is, how my microphone is set up, so that I don't waste time setting these things up. So the same thing is having everything that you need to do, every work that you need to do, have it set up on your PC. Bookmark the most important tabs. Keep your notebook right in front of you, open, so you can see your goals. Just whatever makes sense for you. Have everything designed in a way that is ready to go. If I told you that you were not allowed to scroll, even if you're addicted to scrolling, you're not allowed to scroll until you did 1,000 push-ups, I can guarantee that you wouldn't scroll because there's such a level of friction between you and the scrolling. Even if it's a very stimulating and fun thing, it is not going to help you out. Just by adding a lot of friction, 1,000 push-ups between you and doom scrolling, you're not going to doom scroll. So what we want to do here is we want to create the exact opposite thing and design your environment, your PC, your computer, your notebook, whatever that might be. Design it in such a way that as soon as you sit down to work, you don't have to set anything up. Everything is ready. Your tasks are waiting for you and you know exactly what you have to do. And now that is the level of clarity in your life that is going to change everything. That is going to make it so easy for you to not procrastinate, to just sit down, get work done, and move through your day. And now remember, the next high performance session is created by how you end the current one. You need one one positive experience, one deep work session. That is your goal for the next months after watching this video. Just one single deep work session that is successful. That is going to get the ball rolling and make it easier for you to recreate that pattern. Now, what I shared in this video are some of the main strategies that I use with the people that I help to help fix their focus, beat procrastination, and actually build sustainable progress. But inside Discipline OS, which is our private community, we share so much more inside our weekly calls, in the course modules, and also in the main chat, what people talk about. So this community is a space for people who want to achieve more. People who want to stop with all the bad habits, stop with the procrastination, and continue and build successful habits. The people who want to be more focused, achieve more, and get more work done, and build better habits, and just change their life around. Those are the type of people that join Discipline OS. So if that sounds like you, click the first link below, watch the video over there to unlock the rest of the site, and join Discipline OS today. And remember, your level of success never exceeds your level of discipline. Take care, and you got this.